Some people like a subtle, intimate fragrance that stays quite close to the skin. Something refined and elegant. A fragrance for a wearer who doesn't need or want compliments. Somebody who doesn't want to stand out and draw attention. But then some of us like big, bold, beautiful fragrances that are weaponized to the point that we can boss any room. I'm not saying this is the definitive list of heavy-hitting fragrances because I don't own every fragrance in the world, but I've picked out some fragrances from my collection that I feel hit heavy. Just be aware that some heavy-hitting fragrances can be a little bit divisive. They may not be everyone's cup of Earl Grey, but if you can choose a heavy-hitting fragrance that you can own rather than it owning you, well, get ready for that boss life. Starting off with a fragrance that actually has bomb and extreme in the name. You'll never guess what this is. It's just too hard to guess, so I'm gonna have to tell you. From Viktor and Rolf, it's Spicebomb Extreme. Big old vanilla bomb, extreme spices and room bossing tobacco. This has been one of my favourite designer fragrances for a long time. The sexy spices just pop off the skin, giving a really wide projection. The tobacco is throwing out some attitude, and the vanilla brings this smooth, creamy sensuality. Even though it's strong and gets noticed, this is an extremely crowd-pleasing scent. It's engineered to tantalise the nostrils of anyone who gets in its path. Perfectly named, because this is an explosion of perfect perfumery. Pull the pin, toss it, and boss it. That was a big explosion. Nasomatto, love this brand. They have a real knack for creating heavy-hitting bangers. And I think my favourite heavy hitter from the brand is Black Afgano. The brand say that the aim of Black Afgano is to evoke the best quality of hashish in a quest to arouse the effects of temporary bliss. Amidst all the marketing BS in the fragrance industry, this one stands out as being one of the most genuine and honest descriptions of a fragrance, and boy, does it entice you into wanting to wear this scent. Who doesn't want to cause temporary bliss to anyone that smells this? There is a definite scent of cannabis in this fragrance, but it doesn't smell like someone toking away on a massive bifter. This is more like being in a room surrounded by piles and piles of fresh cannabis plants. And yes, I actually have been in a room surrounded by piles and piles of fresh cannabis plants, and it does smell pretty good. Cannabis, though, isn't the only fuel in this massive engine. Fragrantica also guesses at tobacco, oud, coffee, and incense. And yeah, I think that smells about right to me. Heavy-hitting notes in a heavy-hitting fragrance that will evoke temporary bliss for anyone who smells it. That's good. That's temporary bliss. One of my favourites from the Tom Ford Private Blend, and to this day, still the heaviest hitting fragrance in that lineup. Tuscan leather. Jasmine sambac, leather, raspberry, saffron and amber, and a whole lot of power. This might just be the most potent fragrance that I own, and it can be a bit of a divisive fragrance. Be aware, this is one of those scents that not everyone is going to appreciate. I think people who really love their scents, people who are really into complex, heavy-hitting fragrances, you're going to dig this, but not everyone does, particularly females. There is no denying how impactful this fragrance is. It's a big one, and because of its divisive nature, you've got to be confident wearing this. But if you can boss this one out, if you can pull it off, that's going to balance out that divisiveness. If you can't style this one out, then it's a fragrance that's going to swallow you up whole, so just be careful. If your personality and attitude can match how loud this fragrance is, you can boss any room. But if you can't, you might just crash and burn. This is an incredible masterpiece of a fragrance. Wear if you dare. Fortune favours the brave. Sample first. All right, so this one is an absolute triumph of bombastic perfumery. A triumph of Bacchus, in fact. Another tobacco powerhouse, but this time combined with fruits and a dreamy, boozy rum. Never judge a book by its cover. Wise words, except when you're talking about heavy-hitting fragrances, because in the case of this belter from Argos, you definitely should judge a book by its cover, because this heavyweight weapon of a bottle foreshadows the power of the juice inside it. Argos are one of those brands that always engineer stellar performance into their fragrances. It's obviously a factor that is very important to the brand. Whenever I think of Argos fragrances, I just think of strength and power. Right, Jeremy? It's very bold, yet easy to wear in the right situation. And for me, that would probably be some kind of formal event in the autumn or winter. Definitely a fragrance fit for the gods and for anyone else who wants to goddamn boss the room. If you love fragrance as much as I do, head over to my online store, luxparfum.co.uk. You'll find my favourite brands, plus brands you can't find anywhere else in the UK. Link is in the description. Back in the day, La Malle from Jean Paul Gaultier was a room filler. It was a weapon. These days, it's lost its potency. But La Malle Elixir does a great job of bringing some of that boldness back. It has the explosive notes of mint and lavender that the original has, but tobacco and the sweet ambery toffee-like base bring some serious gravitas. I've just realised that right now you're probably thinking this is just a reskinned version of Chris's favourite tobacco scents video, and yes, all the ones I've talked about so far do contain tobacco, but not all of them in the video used tobacco, although it does seem to be a note synonymous with heavy-hitting fragrances. Le Parfum had very respectable performance, but this one is even more of a room filler. Not every release from Jean Paul Gaultier is this good, but with Le Parfum and this one, I'd say the JPG stock is looking pretty good right now. Danger, Danger, High Voltage should be the full name of Roja Parfums Danger. Danger is a beautiful clashing together of modern and classical perfumery. This clash releases a burst of aromatics, spices and powder. Cumin punches through, giving some edge and attitude. Because of the nod to classical perfumery, this one has lots of sophistication, but when blended with a more modern style and plenty of power, Jeremy, this is a dangerously good scent that will hit hard. Oh, and if you really want to nuke the room, try the Parfum version. Another boss level elixir to detonate on your skin is Dior Sauvage Elixir. Regular Sauvage is powerful enough, but with the addition of spices and licorice, this is huge. Wearing this myself, I've had stellar performance, but I've also been around other people wearing this fragrance. Let me tell you, this is a room filler. Like, it fills all the rooms, so you gotta be careful not to overspray it. Like Danger, it blends classical with modern, it hits hard, and it hits good. A little on the pricey side, but when you factor in the quality and the performance, it's probably better value than most other designer fragrances. Recently, I've been enjoying some of the fresher scents from Parfums de Marly, but the reason I fell in love with that brand in the first place is because of heavy hitters like Ocean, like Carlisle, and this one, Layton. This is a beautiful, fruity, spicy, woody scent that manages to create this perfect storm of a high-end, crowd-pleasing compliment getter. This is a big smell, so it's a good job. It's also super mass appealing. The spices really pop. Apple and mandarin bring some fruity sweetness, and vanilla adds a creamy sensuality. This is definitely not one of those divisive fragrances. Most people will love it. Some fragrances can use a very potent note or accord to grab attention, and for some people that potency can be a touch abrasive, but that is definitely not the case with Layton. It's big, it has that potency, but it's also very easy to wear. If you want power, Jeremy, if you want mass appeal, if you want a high-end smelling scent, bet on this horse. Like, go all in. It's that good. I mean, sample first if you can, but if you weren't in a position to sample this, if you maybe were going to spend full price on a niche fragrance and blind buy it, not that you should, but if you were going to, this is probably one of the safer bets. There are some of my favourite heavy hitting scents that I've had good results with. What are your favourite heavy hitters? Can you beat my list? Go on, give it a try down there in the comments. Let's see what you got. All right, if you like this video, you know what to do. Give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to see more content like this, and if you do all that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.